Всем привет! I'm very glad to see you on my channel today, and today's a good day to film a pregnancy Q&A. I've asked you guys to send me some questions on my Instagram account in stories, so I received a lot of them and I tried to pick the most popular ones, so I hope I won't talk too much. So when is your baby due date? My due date is on the 18th of August. I'm 24 weeks pregnant at the moment, so you really can see the bump already. It's getting bigger and bigger every single day, and I think 24 weeks is quite a significant amount of weeks already. With Agatha, I've been pregnant for 41 and a half weeks, so I passed my due date quite significantly. I don't know if this time it will be the same, but we'll see. Have you checked the gender of the baby or going the natural way? I've been talking about that in my pregnancy reveal video. We know the gender almost from the beginning. It's a girl, it's a baby sister for Agatha, and we are too impatient, I think, to go natural way. Maybe one day I will be able to. We were thinking about that first, but when at the ultrasound the doctor told me that she sees the gender, we couldn't resist asking. So we know it's a girl. Any name ideas yet? Baby names you like? Okay, this is a hard one. We have zero, less than a zero baby names ideas. Completely nothing. Even names that we like or like nothing, we have no ideas. With Agatha, we just liked that particular name. I think in the middle of my pregnancy we started to think about the name, and for one day we decided that we like this particular name. It sounded perfect to us and we just went straight with it. But this time we have no ideas. We even didn't have enough time to kind of think about the names, go through name lists or something like that. Nothing. I hope we'll find a cool name, because Agatha is a cool name and I think we need something that would be at least with the same amount of coolness. Well, for us, we just like that name. How are you planning to give birth? Natural with C-section? Natural. I was giving birth with Agatha naturally, and I think it works best for me. I don't want to have a C-section. If everything will be fine and if my doctor will say that I can go natural way, then I'll be doing it naturally, and I really hope that it will happen. I have one little problem that can lead to C-section. Last spring I hurt I fell down from the chair and I hurt my butt really badly, and since that period of time it's a little bit painful to sit sometimes. So my doctor said that, I don't know if I kind of broke it or not, but my doctor said that we will see closer to the end of the pregnancy. If everything will look fine, then she'll let me do it naturally. If something will be bad, with my sitting area, then maybe there is an option to go for a C-section. We'll see. But I really hope for a natural delivery. How many kids do you want to have? I don't know if it's too personal. We don't have a specific number. We don't have any birth plan, I want 3 kids by 30 or something like that. We have nothing planned when it comes to kids. We love how it goes. I think if God will give us more kids than 2, then we'll be happy to have them, and I really hope so, because I think we will go for number 3, maybe more. But we will see how it goes. You never know what God prepared for you in your pregnancy and birth and children journey. How did you find out? And also the second question here, what were the very first signs of pregnancy? I found out quite boring. I just did the test. We were trying like for the baby, so I was getting tests from time to time. I don't have my period very like scheduled. It's always like a week later, 2 weeks later, 1 week earlier than I expect. It's not very, date to date, so it's hard for me to track any kind of ovulation or period or anything like that. And because of that, there's no option for me to find out because of the period delay. So I was just doing tests randomly for time to time, but I felt that I was pregnant. That's why I include that question about first signs. There are some signs for me that like I'm almost sure that I'm pregnant. So first one is I'm a sweet tooth, and I almost always want something sweet with the tea or just some kind of chocolates. But when I'm getting pregnant, for first half of pregnancy, I don't want anything sweet at all. Right from the moment I got pregnant, I don't want anything sweet. That's always like the first sign when I notice that I don't want anything sweet for like day 2, week, 2 weeks. Like that's kind of a sign for me. Also, one more here is like I don't want any intimacy at all with my husband. Like just my body is like, okay, I got the baby, I don't want any like interactions anymore with your husband. So that's also like the second sign. I'm just like not interested in intimacy anymore right from the moment I get pregnant. So it's like usually I notice after a week or 2 that these two go together. One more sign that also shows me I usually, when I get pregnant, I get a lot of acne on my chin area, but then all the acne goes away. So I have my best skin when I'm pregnant. I almost have no acne. I have like very good skin. So for me, that's also like the sign that something changed. Like I got a lot of acne and then all of it went away. Because usually when I'm not pregnant, I get it quite often. And when there is a kind of clean skin, that's weird for me. It's hard to tell, but I always get that weird feeling in the stomach, like belly area, like very light weird feeling. I don't know how to describe it. Like it's a little bit similar to feelings that we get before having period, but a little bit different. So just that mix of signs usually says to me that I'm pregnant and make me quite sure. How is this pregnancy different than your first one emotionally and physically? It's very similar. Like very, very similar. Emotionally, it's a little bit different because it's like the second time and I'm not that, worried. With my first time being pregnant, I was kind of scared about everything and worried about everything, and I was trying to read a lot of information about pregnancy and birth, and I just had that huge overwhelming amount of feelings. Just I was constantly scared that something will be wrong with the baby, or like I was worrying that I'm doing things that I shouldn't do during pregnancy, like I shouldn't eat something maybe, or I shouldn't like do some kind of exercises, and I was constantly kind of worrying about that. And also I was constantly like thinking about me being pregnant right from the moment I found out, every single day. But this time I always forget that I'm pregnant. I can't say that I don't care much about it, but I feel good and I don't think about it that much, and there's so much less stress and worries and like scaredness. I'm just kind of chill about this pregnancy. It just goes kind of fine. I feel good, so I'm just like chill and I don't worry about it almost at all. I've been worrying about it when we were moving from place to place, but since I came here and I did the ultrasound and the doctor said that everything is fine with the baby, I was like, okay, then now I have nothing to worry about. And I think also we're so busy with all the moving that it helps me not to think too much about the pregnancy itself. It's flying by so fast. and like emotionally it's been easier. Physically it's been very, very similar. I also don't have a very big belly. The belly is almost the same size, a little bit bigger than with Agatha. I have the same problems, like I have very bad situation with my veins on my legs, and I have just the same stuff. I had approximately the same morning sickness as I had with Agatha. The main difference, I think, was about food and like morning sickness and cravings. With Agatha, for the first 4 months, I could not eat almost any fresh fruits or vegetables. They were making me so sick and nauseous, and I was just like throwing up all the time if I ate anything. Like if I ate a tomato, even in a meal, like if I would eat some kind of meal with a fresh like tomato, carrots, apples, like I don't know, peaches, watermelons, like anything, cucumbers. It was a little bit different from time to time, but most of the time I was feeling very sick after that. So I was mostly eating potatoes and meat all the time. That's all I wanted, actually. All I wanted with Agatha was mac and cheese and potatoes and meat, nothing else. And my body was reacting to fresh fruits and vegetables very aggressively. So it was kind of, matching. And this time it's quite different. I'm craving fresh fruits and vegetables. Like I'm craving apples, I'm craving like watermelons. I want something fresh. I want very light meals with like fruits and vegetables, like salads, and very light meals, not oily, not like very fried. Everything oily makes me sick this time. So when we were in Uzbekistan, it was hard because they are eating plov most of the time, like samsa. These are very oily meals, and I was feeling very nauseous after them. And also when I'm cooking something at home, or when I'm like visiting some people, and if they cook oily food like macaronis with a lot of oil and fried stuff, I'm just feeling sick. I can't eat that food this time. We were visiting my mom, and she was cooking quite oily rice with fish, with baked fish, and the fish was, I think it was like salmon or something like that, like red fish, and it was oily too by itself, and the rice was oily, and I said like, no mom, sorry. I just can't eat that. So that was different. Food preferences were quite different this time. Oh, one more thing. I'm craving sushi like all the time, like this, like rolls with the fish and rice. I'm craving them constantly. Like if you ask me what do you want any time of the day, any day during this pregnancy, I would tell you that I want sushi and like nothing else. It's not bad, so I'm not like craving them that much, but I kind of want them on the background of my feelings, all day long. Do you think you will vlog your delivery like some other creators, or it's too private for you? It's definitely too private for me. I'm quite okay with talking about some personal stuff, but I'm sometimes even not comfortable with vlogging just regular days, because I feel like I don't want to share too much. And like delivery and giving birth is a very intimate, personal like moment with you, with the baby, your husband, and it's a very special moment. So I don't want to film it, I don't want to put it online. I want to just go through that, live through that. And it's also like I don't want to think about filming even when I'm giving birth. Like I want to just be in the moment, be present, and it's kind of too personal for me to share something like that. I don't promise that, but maybe I'll film something like a vlog from the hospital, because in Russia, for example, we stay for 3 days in the hospital after giving birth if you gave birth naturally, and if everything is fine with you and the baby, so 3 days is like a minimum amount. If you gave birth via C-section and everything is fine with you and the baby, you stay for 5 days usually. I don't know if system here in Georgia is the same, but I think that it's probably is. And maybe I'll stay for several days in the hospital, so maybe I'll film something like a vlog from there, but I don't promise that. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll film something like a birth story, just sitting talking, something like Meet My Baby, or I don't know, but not the delivery, not the birth process. This is just a little bit too intimate for me. Do you plan to give birth in Georgia? Yes, we are staying in Georgia for the delivery, and I'm going to give birth here. Will your baby be born in a different country mean they get dual citizenship? In Georgia, no. There are many countries that give the baby citizenship if the baby was born on their land. But in Georgia, it's not like that. They don't give you citizenship unless one of the parents is a citizen. So we both are not citizens. So our baby will be just Russian. We will do some documents here for the baby in the Russian. Cost of giving birth and health insurance or paying out of pocket. In Georgia, they don't have any government hospitals like in Russia, so you always have to pay for any kind of medical help. I think they have health insurance here, but it's not this in post-Soviet countries. Health insurance is not the same as it is in European countries or in America, when all the people have health insurance and that downsize the cost of health stuff significantly. Here it is not like that. Like very small amount of people have health insurance. The difference in price is not usually very big. I've been asking local people and they all say that they don't have any health insurance. They just pay out of pocket when they need a doctor. It is the same in Russia. We have free government hospitals. Well, they're not free, like we pay taxes for them, but when you come, it's sort of free. We also have private hospitals and we have a health insurance, but I know no one who would have a health insurance in Russia because it kind of makes not much sense to have it. Here in Georgia, they're trying to copy the American system, so all the hospitals are private and you need to pay for all of them, and you can get health insurance. I think it works better here than in Russia, but it's still like I'm just paying out of pocket. I think the difference in price is not big. Also, the cost of giving birth. I don't know in which hospital I will be giving birth yet, because the hospital where my doctor is, they don't have the place for giving birth. So she'll have to kind of transfer me to another hospital when I'll be closer to my due date. She'll give me like their contacts, their number, maybe she'll help me to sign up an appointment there and to get everything organized for the delivery. So I think she'll have several options, like different hospitals with different prices. I have no idea which one I'll be giving birth in. I've been checking the most expensive one here in Georgia, I think, and it cost and it cost like $3,000 for a birth, and it's like the most expensive one, just like kind of luxury one. One of my acquaintances here recommended me one hospital, and she said she paid like $500. She said that the hospital was very nice and she liked it. So, you know, the price is different, but I think it's the highest point you can get is about 3,000. Do you want to give birth at the hospital or at home? I kind of answered already. I'm planning to give birth in the hospital. There is one like cultural thing in post-Soviet countries. It's very rare and weird for people to give birth at home, so it's not common like at all. Usually the person who's living in like Russia or even in Georgia, if you ask that question, they kind of won't understand why you even ask. Because here the attitude to home birth is more like, oh, it's kind of outdated, like people used to give birth at home at the medieval times, so like why would we give birth at home if we have hospitals? After the USSR period, everybody was giving birth in the hospital. It was very organized, very like controlled, I would say. So it's still the same. Everybody's giving birth in the hospital. And if you want to give birth at home, there is kind of like a little bit of modern movement among people who maybe can read more English information, who can get some information from Europe or from America. There is a small movement of people who try to give birth at home, but it's very hard in countries like Russia, and I think Georgia is quite similar. I'm talking about Russia because that's what I am mostly familiar with. I'm not very familiar with the system in Georgia, but these countries are very similar in many things, so I think it's the same. It's very hard to give birth at home because nothing is organized for that. So there are the smallest amount of midwives you can find that would agree to like help you with the home birth. Like you can't find them in Moscow and St. Petersburg because these are the main cities in Russia. In our city in Krasnodar, we have a population of like 1.5 million. So it's a huge city, and it's almost impossible to find a midwife there who kind of works with home births. So my friend in Krasnodar, she really wanted a home birth. She was all for it, and she decided that she'll go and fight the system and she'll have a home birth no matter what. And she had to find a midwife that was living in the other city in 2 hours drive. So it was kind of, not very organized. So the midwife was living far. She had to come when the contractions started, and she couldn't come like much before that for any checkups. My friend had to go to the regular hospital for all the checkups, and regular hospital would not understand if you say to them that you're going to give birth at home. Like they would be kind of mad at you. You'll have problems with all the organizing like documents, because usually the hospital gives you the document after the delivery, and with that document you go and like make real documents for the child. And when you give birth at home, you have kind of no documents, so that's all kind of complicated. And you can't have an agreement with the hospital that you'll just give birth at home, and if something is wrong, you will come to the hospital. They'll not agree like to have an agreement like that. If something will go wrong at home, you'll have to like rush to the random hospital that is near your place and kind of explain them why you were giving birth at home and now you have some kind of problems, and they'll have to register you in the system. Like, it's all very complicated, and you need to kind of really fight the system to have a home birth. I think home birth is probably cool and fun, but since I'm living in the country where nothing is organized for that, I just don't want to, have all of these complicated troubles. So for me, it's easier to find the hospital and to find the doctor who I trust, have an agreement with them about how I want everything to happen, and just go through that in the hospital with an agreement, with like everything prepared and everything organized, and all the documents would be easy to get after that. So it's easier for me emotionally. I don't want to, have extra stress about trying to organize a home birth in the place where it's hard to organize it. It's fun when I say to some people that in like some European countries, there are like 30% of women who just give birth at home, and everything is well organized and easy to do that. Like, people don't even believe me. They would be like, why? We have hospitals. Like, why somebody would give birth at home? So yeah, it's just a cultural thing. Like, giving birth at home is just not a really good option in Russia or in Georgia. So just I'm preparing for the hospital. Do you plan on doing anything different than when you had Agatha? Yes. And when I had Agatha, I think I was, you're a first time mom, you have no idea what you are doing, kinda, and you're trying to figure out what works for you and for baby. And there were several things that I tried with Agatha and they didn't work, so this time I'm not even going to try them. So, for example, I was trying swaddling with Agatha for about a week and it didn't work, and I don't know why I was even trying. And I think this time I'll just go right with normal baby clothes without any kind of swaddling, if the baby will be feeling fine about that. Because I think some babies like being swaddled, but Agatha just hated it. I was giving birth in the government hospital and they have their own swaddles in the hospital and you can use them only. You can't use regular baby clothes that you bring with you. It's prohibited. You need to use swaddles and specific amounts that the hospital gives you, and you need to swaddle your baby no matter if you want or not. There's just not any other option. So I was staying for 3 days there and everything was fine with me and Agatha, and I had to swaddle her anyway. I noticed from the beginning that she kind of doesn't like it. She was quite fine, but she was always like getting her hands out and legs out, and she was kind of strong when she was born, so she was just getting out of that swaddle all the time. It was very like annoying for me because I kind of didn't like doing all of that and trying to keep her in the swaddle when she was getting out of it constantly. She was not crying, she was sleeping fine, but it didn't work for her. But after I came home, for some reason I kept like trying to swaddle her for several days. I noticed that she's not really into it, so I was mostly like covering her in swaddles. I was not even swaddling her. Like, it was all very awkward, and then I just gave up and I said like, why am I even trying to do that? And I put normal clothes for her and she was feeling just great in them. And also with Agatha, I was very afraid for some reason. I have no idea why. She's not allergic to anything. She's very like fine with all the food and everything, but for some reason I was very scared that the baby will get like a diaper rush after, like, because of diapers, because all of my friends were telling me that, oh, baby gets like diaper rash all the time, like they're allergic to diapers and stuff like that. And I was trying to keep Agatha without diapers like as much as I can, and when she was just born, she was like peeing and pooping all the time. For me personally, it was very annoying to deal with all of the mess that she was making as a newborn. Now, like, I don't even know why I was doing that. This time I'll just keep the baby in the diaper until the moment they'll have a rush or something like that. Then it kind of makes sense to keep them without diaper, but she was not even getting it. Like, she was feeling absolutely fine, but for some reason I was trying to keep her out of the diaper. And it was annoying for me. Like, for her it was probably fine, she didn't care. But for me it was, like extra stress after like giving birth. I don't want to go through that. So there are like little things that I'm not going to do anymore. Is Agatha excited to have a baby sister? Yes. I don't know to which like extent she understands what's going on, but we told her right when we found out, we told her that mom has a baby in the belly, and we tried to kind of explain to her there is a baby. At first she was constantly asking if she has a baby too in the belly. She was like touching her belly and saying, oh, I have a baby too. And we were explaining her that no, only mama has a baby. She's sometimes coming to me to like hug the belly, to kiss the belly, to say something about the baby. And when we're praying for our food, every time she asked to pray about the baby too. So I think she understands to some point that there is some kind of baby. I don't know if she understands that the baby will get out one day and be her sister. I don't know. Will you do sleep training or safe co-sleeping? Agatha was sleeping mostly in her own crib for about half of the year. I was constantly waking up and coming to her and nursing her and putting her back in the crib. Sometimes she was able to fall asleep by herself there, but I was usually staying with her and like touching her, talking with her, and she was falling asleep. We didn't do like a sleep training or anything like that, but she was kind of in the crib most of the time. But after half of the year, I went to my mom's apartment for about a month. She didn't have any crib, obviously. So Agatha was co-sleeping with me, and I kind of just decided to continue with co-sleeping. And I think this time probably we'll just do co-sleeping right from the beginning. I'm going to dive deeper a little bit into like safe co-sleeping techniques and things like that, because with Agatha we didn't like experience any co-sleeping before she was half of the year old, so she was quite big already. It was a little bit easier, but with a newborn I need to kind of get more information a little bit about that. But I think we'll go with just co-sleeping. Kind of worked for me well and for our family in general. How long did you try before getting pregnant? I've got several questions like that, and I think it's a little bit like a personal question, but also I thought that when I was trying to get pregnant with Agatha and with like this second time, it seemed to me that every single person I know just gets pregnant right away. Like all the influencers I've been subscribed to who had kids were just having kid after kid after kid, and they were just getting pregnant right away. And I was like, is something wrong with me or not? So yeah, I decided to answer that question. So with Agatha, we were trying for about 9 months before we actually... Oh, спасибо.
Не смогли держаться.
А что ты с ней сделала?
Прическу.
Спасибо.
Пожалуйста.
Спасибо.
Целуй, мам.
Спасибо.
Пожалуйста. Теперь у тебя красиво.
My husband is like the cutest man on earth. So, what I was talking about, like, I'm just, they're so cute, like, yeah. With Agatha, we've been trying for 9 months before we actually got pregnant. I didn't track, like, you know, some people track ovulation and they like go very strictly with the schedule and with days and just track everything. I didn't do that. I didn't track anything, so we were going kind of natural way, and we were just like, let's have intimacy a little bit more often, you know, because I have a very unstable period. I have very unstable ovulation, so I never know what day it's coming and what day I'll get a period. I never know. It comes regularly every like month and a half, but I never know like the dates. It would be very stressful for me to track all of that stuff, and I'll have to do all like ovulation tests all the time because it's just very hard to track. And I decided that I'm not going to do that because it would add like extra, you know, extra worries, extra stress. I don't want to do that. So we were doing it kind of naturally. We were just, you know, trying more often. And it took us 9 months. This time with our second baby, I think it took us approximately the same amount of time. We started kind of like earlier, and it was probably a right decision because it also took us quite a long time. I think approximately the same amount. But during that like period of time, I also had two like chemical pregnancies, so pregnancies that didn't last longer than 5 weeks. So I had like kind of 2 miscarriages, but doctors here usually don't count it as a miscarriage. They count it as a chemical pregnancy, like the pregnancy that didn't stick. So twice I got pregnant during that period of time when we were trying for the second baby, and twice it didn't last longer than 5 weeks. And third time I got pregnant, and now I'm 24 weeks, so it went very well. Everything went like very well right from the beginning. I felt good and there were no like troubles or anything like that. It's worth talking about that because not everybody gets pregnant right away, as sometimes it seems. Some people have, have to wait for longer. Some people have miscarriages and like chemical pregnancies. And that's life, that happens. How not to be afraid? I have so many fears starting from something wrong with the baby. I want to answer it because that's how I was feeling with Agatha, with my first pregnancy. I was very scared about everything and I was crying often because I was scared. I was emotionally overwhelmed. And I was afraid that something will be wrong with the baby. For no reason, like there was no reason to be scared, but I was scared just because I didn't know how everything is like happening. I had no experience before and it was quite a stressful time. So there were like 2-3 things that helped me. Mostly it stopped after like I gave birth and after Agatha was several months old and I started to notice that everything is fine with her. I kind of calmed down. Before that, I was constantly worrying. What helped me was I was praying over all my fears all the time. Every single day, I was praying for baby's health. I was praying for all the checkups and appointments and doctors and the delivery and the newborn stage and like everything, every single worry I had, I was praying over it and it really was helping me because I knew that God was taking care of that baby first. And the second thing that helped me was limiting the amount of information I get. Getting information was important to know what's happening. So I really needed to learn about the pregnancy, to learn about how like birth is happening, to learn about the newborns. That good quality, like academical information helped me a lot to understand what's going on and what's happening. Like that is what really helped me. So I was mostly sticking to reading the big book with all the information I need. It really helped me because when I was trying to read some articles on the internet or I was trying to read some articles on the pregnancy app, and I was trying to read birth stories or just like listening to my friends, it all were just making the situation worse with my anxiety and stress. I was feeling too overwhelmed with the amount of information on the internet, on like different just blogs and stuff was so overwhelming because it was so much of it and most of the time it was not very important information or it was just like adding extra worries. I stopped reading all the internet articles and birth stories because your birth will be different anyway. Like I've read several of them, it was kind of interesting, but it was adding a little bit extra stress to me. So that's what helped me, like getting good quality information to prepare for the birth and to be sure that everything is fine with you, but also like limiting the amount of not very qualified maybe information, not very important information. This time it's much better because it's second pregnancy and I'm kind of okay with everything that is happening. How much did you gain weight? I think I gained about 2 kilograms at the moment. With Agatha I wasn't gaining weight until the middle of the pregnancy, so approximately the same time, and then I gained like 15 kilograms. So this time I don't know if it would be similar, so I gained about 2 kilograms 24 weeks, so we'll see how it goes. I hope it won't be that much as with Agatha, but I kind of don't worry about the weight much. I think it's okay to gain a little bit during pregnancy. I don't put any pressure on myself about the amount of kilograms I'll gain. I just try to, eat healthy and don't eat too much. One more, how are you feeling? Thank you guys. Thank you for your questions. I'm feeling wonderful. I'm feeling really good. And I'm even thinking that I'm feeling better and better every single week because my nausea went away and I'm just feeling good. Like the belly is not too big yet. So I think this time is the best time during pregnancy. Did you always want to have children so early in life? You're quite a young mother, I think. I think I'm quite young too, but not like too young. I'll be 24. I'll just have my birthday when the baby will be born. So I'll be 24. I was 21 when I had Agatha. Honestly, guys, I didn't want to have kids before I got married. In my family, there were no small children. I'm from a small family, and I didn't have any experience with like little babies and little children. You know, some girls just love kids, like love small kids, love babies. They love to, you know, play with them and hug them and kiss them, and they just get excited when somebody comes with the baby. I'm not like that. I've been always very, you know, like not interested in others people kids. My friends were even joking about that because they were like, how are you going to have your own kids if you just don't like kids? And I was like, I'm just not interested, not a fan of kids. So yeah, and I was not thinking about having kids at all. Like, I knew that probably I'll have them one day, but I was not thinking about that before we got married. So I really wanted to have a spouse, to have a husband, to have relationships, but I was not thinking about kids. And when we got married with Tola, for some reason I started to think about kids, and I thought that that would be kind of logical thing to do after we got married. And also Tola is a little bit older than me, so we have a 9 years difference. I thought that it would be good to have kids early in our like marriage, so he will be able to experience like their early years as a young dad also, because if we would wait longer and longer, he'll get like older and older. Now he's 32. He's still quite young, and he'll have a second child soon. So I think it was a good decision. I would never regret it. I love our daughter, and I'm excited for the second child. So yeah, thank you guys a lot for asking all of these questions. I hope I was able to answer most of them. So thank you guys a lot, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.